You're so silly, Justin.
Hey, we are live. Hope everybody's having a good day and has had a good weekend. It's Monday. Yippee. Hope y'all
Yes.
haven't had a bad Monday. Mondays were bad sometimes, I guess. Well, I am Justin, also known as the DIY audio guy. We are here at our once a week live stream and podcast, Sound Advice, and I'm joined with my partner in crime, the one and only Toyd from Toyd's DIY. What's going on, Nick?
Hey, not much, but I'm so excited to hear that Dan is actually able to be here live. I rarely ever get to go live with Dan, so I'm excited. Guys, like we always say, if you guys have questions, make sure to ask them as the show goes on. I'm actually really excited about this because I thought it was just very interesting, the topic that you came up with, and I was like, ooh,
Yes.
I want to
And
talk about this.
I'll share my motivation for the topic. Hey,
Mm.
Bobby V, good to see you. Good to see a good crowd in here tonight. Let's see who else is here. Martin JR 540. Hi, how are you? There's Mullen. Sean Mullen is here hanging out with us. We got a good crowd here. This is David versus Goliath. You may remember that name. That's RGA is who that is. Cornet's hanging
Yeah.
out here. It's good to see a few of my patrons like that hanging out. There's El Fuego.
Oh,
We got a good crowd
AJC. I
tonight.
haven't seen AJC in a while.
Hey,
That's great to see him back. Yeah.
excellent, excellent. I don't recognize this name, Mark. Mark Kendrick. I don't recognize the name. Do you recognize Mark?
I don't, but I will say this: if Mark Kendrick or anyone else wants to go to Parts Express speaker competition, which is coming up, design competition coming up in August, I'll be able to meet him there because I'll be there. So, and you know who else is going to be there? There's Andrew Jones. Yeah,
Really, the guy who designed the Pioneer speakers?
yep, ELAC Pioneer. About like every
I'm
other
sure he's
speaker company
famous
in the
for
world
just
he's worked
Pioneer,
for.
right. He's
Yeah.
that would be cool. I'm not gonna be able to make it. It's a timing issue with me. It lands at a time where I've got more important things to do than go to an audio show. Not that audio shows aren't important, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. Tonight's topic. If you want to jump right into the topic, Nick, tonight's topic is sticker shock, and
Yeah.
and I got a question for the chat and for you, Nick, as well. The thumbnail for this, right? The thumbnail. I used AI to generate the thumbnail.
I
So
thought it
it's
was
like a
cool.
little stick figure dude with lightning coming away from him, and there's a box with a price tag on it. It's funny how AI is a thing now that it just used to not be.
Yeah, AI is nice. Now, when we talk about sticker shock, by the way, I want to mention this. We have kind of mentioned both sides. We both have some from both sides of sticker shock, meaning
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's times where you see something and it's either that sounds too good to be true, or it's are you insane? And so we tried to come at
Right.
this from both angles.
Right, because sticker shock doesn't have to mean expensive. It just means you're surprised, right? But generally, it means you look at it and you're like, "Whoa, I didn't realize it was going to be that much." Right?
Yeah.
You go into a restaurant, and there are no prices on the no prices on the menu, kind
Menu.
of thing. Timothy here says all JL products are sticker shock, and I want to talk about that actually because I would agree with Timothy, or I would have agreed with Timothy up to about a week and a half ago when I was taking a look at some subwoofers that had shot up in price as a result of the pandemic and everything. And it's like, wait a second. Speakers that used to be a real bargain that would beat JL, in my opinion, all of a sudden aren't priced competitively against JL anymore.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guitars. Whew, guitars. Yeah, guitars. You can spend a lot of money on guitars.
yeah, and that I feel like that's happening a lot, even like in automobile world. I've seen that with used speakers, all kinds of things where things are starting to sell more than what they sold for originally.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so a few years ago, and I don't know if it's still like this, projectors were like that. BenQ W 1070, which I had, and pretty much everyone in the world had that was into like budget projectors at that time. I wanted to check to see like what they would be now because they were brand new, like $700. I was like, oh, I wonder how much they'd be. Maybe I'll buy one. They were $700 to $1,000 used, and I was like,
Oof.
are you serious? Like that's the same price. Like it was crazy, and so I get that. Now, I want to talk about this since we're talking about projectors. I have a couple things on my list that are not audio related,
Right.
but this is projector related. Have you ever
What
seen
is
this?
that? That's too small to be any good.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Actually, this is the Nomadic L500. I actually have this for review. So let me explain something because I don't think a lot of people know this. When you buy a new television, not every television can create the same amount of colors. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah, most people don't know that, right? So there's different standards. There's Rec 709, which is high definition, standard definition, and that's about 36% of all the colors that we can see. And then it goes all the way up to Rec 2020, which is about 76% of all the colors that we can see now can be created on television. And that's through the likes of HDR, Dolby Vision, HLG, those
Okay.
types of things. However, not every television can produce 100% of Rec 2020. In fact, no television that I know of can actually produce 100% of Rec 2020. Interestingly enough, there are certain projectors that can.
Okay.
And this is actually one of them. Believe it or not, this thing is only $700. It's going to be on Kickstarter. It's not even out yet. It's not out yet. It comes out on the 31st. And I did test this out. It literally does 100% of Rec 2020, meaning it can provide more colors than your household television can, which is pretty darn crazy when you think about it. And now it actually provided a more vibrant picture than my JVC on a lot of things because it can do the HDR.
And that's not that expensive as far as projectors go.
No, that's cheap. And it's considered a portable projector. I'm not going to say it's the most accurate colors because it's not, but still, it looks like a humidifier. It is. It's a triple laser projector. So it uses a red, a green, and a blue laser to shoot together to create all of those. It's pretty neat. It's pretty darn impressive for the price that you pay.
And I know what's also impressive is our good friend Dan Russell has given us a $5 super chat and asked everyone, reminded everybody to hit the like button. So please hit the like button. If you hit the like button, it lets people know that people like it. Lets YouTube know that people like it, and that's actually helpful.
Bobby Burkett asked for a toy coupon. There's no coupon on this because it's Kickstarter. I'm not even. By the way, I just want you guys to know I'm not an affiliate with this company. I don't know if they're going to offer an affiliate or not. I guess I'd have to talk to them about it. But Kickstarter special is going to be $700. It's going to be $450 more after that. I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to use it as my primary portable projector probably.
All right. I didn't mean to add that to the screen quite yet, but it's there.
No, this is great.
Talk about it.
Let's hear it.
You've got one of these, don't you? You've got an Xtool D1 Pro 20 watt. Is that right?
I do. I have that same one, actually, that same bundle. Well, I don't have the gold. I don't have the enclosure though, but I have everything else. Yep.
God, this one has a free enclosure. That's a big deal.
Oh, that's great.
Earlier, it had a free honeycomb. So this is one of the things that made me think about doing a show on Sticker Shock. I just did a laser video. Xtool sent me a laser. I was on the fence on whether I wanted to do one because I don't get good viewership of this kind of thing. No one wants to watch me put a laser together. But I made the video, and one reason why I did was because I looked at the price of this thing, and I thought, okay, for a $1,600 laser, maybe I can make a video. Maybe it's worth it. I don't think it is. I don't think I like using lasers. I've got one now, so I'll use it some. And someone commented, in the video, wow, that's, $1,700. And it's like, you know what? It kind of is. You can get a laser for as little as $300. It comes with a lot. It comes with air assist. They throw in you can see in the image down here. Let's see if it shows up. You can see it has the feet and the little spinner thing. So if you want to etch, a mug or something, those aluminum mugs kind of things, you can etch those, a baseball bat or something. Probably won't hold a baseball bat. And they throw in the free enclosure, and the free enclosure is a big deal. I wouldn't mind having one, especially at that price. But $1,600 is enough, I think, to turn people off, especially if you don't know how to use it.
Yeah, it does. It's definitely one of those ones that you don't necessarily know. The thing about Xtool, though, is Xtool is kind of like the Apple of the laser industry. Because you have another laser
Yes.
The X tool does have like some presets and stuff set for you if you use their program. Okay, right. So X tool has their own program that you can download. Most of the other ones they require you to purchase a program like Lightburn or something of that nature.
And that's another thing about lasers. Do you remember the old TV show Columbo? Are you familiar with the old show? Is a crime procedural. The guy would, he'd be talking to someone who's committed a crime, and he'd walk away and turn around and go, "Oh, one more thing." Does anybody in the chat remember Columbo? Am I the only one? Right?
No.
He would always turn around and go, "Oh, let me ask you one more thing," and the one more thing was always the thing that was like, "Oh, I know you did it, and I'm dropping the hint here." This is a Columbo device, meaning every time you do something with it, you turn around and it's like, "Oh, guess what? One more thing. You need to buy a honeycomb for $60 to $100. This has an air assist. You need an air assist to make one work. You've got to spend $60 on Lightburn." Yeah. So there's another $200 in extra cost just to have the damn thing functional. Pardon my French. On top of
the X tool, you don't have to have Lightburn. X tool, you can use the X tools. And I don't know if you use their software, but their software is actually pretty good.
Yes, I used their software. It was good. It was simple to use. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, and it usually has settings for like the acrylic and stuff to already cut through, and so you're not guessing at the settings. And honestly, that to me makes the X tool worth it over a lot of other ones when you're beginning out, because when you're beginning, you have to guess on all of that stuff. You have to guess like what speed I think I'm going to go on. I mean, they usually give you an idea, like a list that gives you an idea of.
What you have to do is cut a test pattern, right? You make this grid of different strengths, and like, so basically, for those who don't know, if you haven't used a laser, there's 3 controls you have. You've got strength as a percentage. You have the speed of the laser, and you have the number of passes. So you adjust those three parameters, and the goal is to cut or etch without melting or burning.
And by strength, Justin's meaning percentage of power that you're using. So you're not using necessarily 100% of the 20 watts all the time. And you can actually make it variable in some instances as well.
Right. Because when you build your design, you lay it out in layers, and maybe this one cut's going to be 50% and this other one's 25%, that kind of thing.
I wonder if you could turn it into a lightsaber. Nice. So, you know what, though? I think that would be really cool is if you bought acrylic. And someone had mentioned Glowforge. The big difference between like Glowforge and X-Tool is the Glowforge is a CO2 laser, so it can cut through like clear acrylic. Right. It can cut through everything, and this can't. But you could use this to make like templates and sell templates. Like if you wanted to sell templates for cutouts for speakers or things of that nature, like that would be a great way to utilize that tool.
So I know someone here locally, Pipeline Audio, that has they got started with a Glowforge and started listing things on Facebook Marketplace. I might try to collaborate with a video on them sometime. And they started selling things and just kind of like, hey, got this thing set up in the basement, and they've made enough money. They've gone out and invested in a commercial size laser. That's a $10,000 or better machine, and so you can literally cut anything that you can imagine with one of these lasers. It really is, your imagination is the limit kind of machine, and people do use them to make money.
What is it? Cut it out.
Yeah. But you're going to burn a lot of time figuring out how to do that.
Yeah. I agree. There's definitely a lot of sticker shop. And I would say like with most big tool, like CNC lasers, any of those types of things, there's a good sticker shock there.
Yes. But make sure that you are using acrylic, which I think plexiglass is acrylic, because Lexan, which is some other thing. What is Lexan? It's polycarbonate. You can't cut polycarbonate with these things.
Well, the thing is, it needs to be colored. It can't be white or blue. It's a blue diode. So clear, it's going to cut through. Blue, it's not. I'm sorry. Clear, it's not going to cut through. Blue, it's not going to cut through. Red, green, yellow.
And if you want to cut or etch in clear, you can get a CO2 laser, and X-Tool has a CO2 laser. It's like $5,000. I mean, the Glowforge is $5,000 too. So,
yeah, theirs is kind of cool though, because you can feed through.
Oh yes, kind of cool. Yes. Blake, for those who don't know, Blake works for one a pretty cool audio company, Digital Designs, and they have a high power infrared laser. I imagine
Jeez.
horrifying would be the exact word.
Well, you could lose a finger like that. Ugh.
Well, yeah. Now these, safety is a concern with these things. They're going to be putting out gas, and you need. I've got those funny glasses that I can throw on, but I got to take these glasses off so I can't see anything with them on. So that's not safe either. All right,
we don't want to spend the whole thing about X-Toll, but I will say this: David versus Clyde is right though. Like even the color of the material can change the passes. Like you would just think, which is what you would think. You'd think, oh well, hey, all I need to know is it's a 1/4 inch acrylic. I can just cut through a 1/4 inch wood. Now I know my speed. No, it's like every different species of wood is different. And so like whenever I did a video with a laser, I had to set up test pieces to figure out how to cut through and even engrave it, because some of them it'll burn more than engrave. It's just not good. All right. I want to share with you something that I think most people think is expensive, which is this.
All right.
Have you seen this one yet?
This is a high frequency compression driver for $275 from Eminence. I think that would cause me to have a little bit of pause. I don't think I would be excited about spending money on that.
It's actually like usually $350. So
okay, so that's good news.
Yeah. It's actually on sale, and it's on back order till August 4th. I got a couple of these in, and I always was interested in them because they're one of those things. It's like, oh man, they're so expensive, but are they worth it? And that's always the question that you have when you have that sticker shock. Most compression drivers, I would say, don't sound very good. And that's just my opinion. I don't think compression drivers are the greatest sounding drivers in the world. But what they have done is they've used a new technology called TechStream. It's a new material, actually. And this TechStream is what they actually made this compression driver out of. And it allows this to do two things. One, it allows it to go very low in frequency range. You can actually use this driver down to 700 hertz. And then it also allows it to go extend really high in frequency range, which is something that a lot of compression drivers can't do. And I was able to get 20 kilohertz out of this usable frequency range.
Oh, wow.
Which is not used. Now, the other thing that's really neat about this is the way that it's made. Are you familiar with waterfall graphs? I know that it's not a lot. I know car audio doesn't really focus on that a lot.
Yeah, so. The video I've got coming out next week, I had Room EQ Wizard up and looked at the waterfall graph while I was looking at the frequency response, and that's about my experience with 30 minutes worth of staring at one. So
basically, all a waterfall graph does is it shows you how fast and how quick. Like, think of it like this. If you were to yell in a cave, what's going to happen with your voice?
Oh, it's going to echo and spread out and
and ring and echo and all that, right? So when you have a speaker driver, you don't want that to happen, but it does happen at certain frequencies with pretty much every driver. This is the best waterfall graph I've ever seen on any driver, let alone compression driver. And all that means is that when you tell it a frequency to start, it starts. And when you tell it to stop, it stops.
Stops, yes.
And that is super impressive. Now, I actually have built 2 speakers with these right now. They're best sounding speakers I've ever heard that I've built to date. They're very, very good. And I say that because, it's originally like $350 to $400 driver. And in this particular case, I would say, assuming you're going to cross it over low, because I can cross this over with a 15 or 18 inch driver. And as long as you're going to cross it over low, I crossed it over with a 15 inch driver. Man, this thing is absolutely the best sounding compression driver I've ever heard.
What did you cross it over at?
750 hertz, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, this is basically doing like all the work, right? But cool?
Yeah.
Like I'm listening to things that I sat my wife in front of it for the first time, and you guys are going to hear this again when you watch the video. I sat my wife in front of it in the first time and just said, "Hey, I just want you to list this and tell me what you think." I didn't tell her what I thought of the speaker, didn't tell her anything. Her first words out of her mouth were, "Wow, those are so clear." And then a few minutes later, we were listening to one of her favorite songs. She goes, "You know, it's a good speaker when you can hear the background singer." She goes, all those cheaper speakers, I can't hear those guys back there." She goes, "They're just so clear back there. I can just hear everything." And it's
Wow.
really neat to see her notice that, because she's not like this audio guru,
Right.
she's just like a normal person. So it's kind of cool.
What do you remember what song it was?
Yeah, it was Down by the River to Pray by Alison Krauss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember when Alison Krauss was big in the 90s in the kind of country scene. Yeah, some fantastic music.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
if you're
the speakers just disappear. Like, you don't even, like, they're huge, but you don't even realize it. They're just so good. They sound great.
Yeah, if
And
you've never listened to Alison Krauss, y'all should dig up some Alison Krauss music. She hasn't been big in a very long time, but it's bluegrass is what it is. That kind of crossed over into mainstream country for a little while, and just hairs.
She's got a beautiful voice.
Hairs on my arms are standing up just thinking about her, of her voice. Yeah, she did a bunch of remakes of some country songs and stuff, and did a big album of it. And again, yeah, just thinking about it, got the hairs on or standing up. Fantastic sound.
I actually want to do that, Blake. Yeah, and the other cool thing too is when you cross over that low, you don't have to cross over in the critical position where you typically have to cross over the tweeter, right? The 2500, the 3500, the 1500 hertz,
right?
Like, all that is a critical area that you typically would rather not cross over at if you could. So it's huge, and it's definitely a great driver. I don't have enough good things to say about it.
And hey, at that price, it better be. And you still need to put a horn on it too, right? So it's not like
yeah. And you know what? The horn is actually very respectable. The horn's about $70, and it's an aluminum horn. And it's actually a nice horn. It's not a cheap. Hairs on Justin's head are standing up.
Excellent. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Let me see. Where did this go? This is something that it was a little bit of a sticker shock to me because I haven't looked at them in a while, and I went to go look at them thinking I might need to buy another pair. Let me see if I can share the screen here. Give me a second.
Yeah, take your time.
These things have shot up. They used to be a lot cheaper than that.
Yeah, and for a 10-inch at $200, that's a lot.
So this is the HF, that's the high fidelity. This is the reference high fidelity. So it's got the aluminum cone. And I was looking at these thinking, okay, I have an application where I might need to use these 300 watt RMS. It's, so 600 watts for a pair, thinking I would team them up with a 2 ohm stable amplifier for something. These are known for doing really well in small enclosures. And I went and looked at them and I thought, wait a second, they were so much cheaper before the pandemic. And so I wish I would have bought a bunch of them 4 years ago and stocked up on them. But I was shocked to see that price. And someone earlier mentioned JL. Remember I got a 15 a couple of years ago for 140. Yeah, they shot up. And so this is the JL1 10W1. So it's not their cheapest. They have a 10W0 as well. And it's $200. And so usually I'm not a fan of JL because I feel like they're just a little overpriced for the quality that you get. I would prefer buying the Dayton Audio. I think it sounds better. But if they're the same price, it's all like, well, you've lost your edge.
I hate to say it, but the 10-inch speakers are making 21 inches seem more affordable.
Yeah. Let's see if I can
21 inches like $400 or something, and this is like 200. I'm like, yeah, I could swing out. Do you want 2 10 inches or 121? And by the way, 2 10 inches output does not equal 2 21 inches. 10 plus 10 is not 20 like you're thinking.
Oh, right. Let's see. Yeah. Let me see if I can get this JL Audio one up here. Entire screen. There we go. There's the JL version of it. So yeah, the JL's $199, and I don't know, are they comparable to each other? Which one would sound better? I don't know. But when the Dayton Audios are as expensive as the JLs, it's like, come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean that I don't know, that Dayton Audio, I would assume, this is my opinion, would probably sound better than the JL. Does that have any copper shortening? Does that do anything?
If it does, it doesn't mention it in the product description, and
Which I highly doubt they wouldn't
Right.
mention it.
and that's the thing. The reference drivers have those copper shorting rings, and so I mean that's great for the like a two-way system to go with that horn you were just talking about, because you can cross it over higher, that kind of thing. I don't know how relevant that is for your standard crossover point, but yeah, I mean,
I get it.
price will get
I'm
close.
with you though. I agree. I'm with you. I mean, and if I'm looking like for competition or something of that nature, I might go with the JL just because people know the JL, and the Dayton Audio is just kind of, it doesn't have any logo on it. It's just bland, which I like, but you might not
Yeah.
like for a competition.
Right. I mean, honestly, the main reason to buy a JL is so you can have JL and show off to everybody. Look, I can afford a JL. That's but if the Dayton Audio is just as expensive, why not go that route? Of course, if you buy 50 of the Dayton Audio, they're 175 each. So you can always get that discount.
Well, you just got to get people to buy them with you. All right. So check this out.
Let's see it. What do you got?
So now that we're talking about subwoofers, have you seen this Eminence 21-inch subwoofer?
Good Lord.
Yeah. So
how big is the voice coil?
Oh man, it's huge. I can't remember. 6-inch voice coil. Yeah.
6-inch voice coil.
And supposedly it's the best 21-inch on the market. I mean, according to for example, we had him on our show, Jeff, who works for Sierra and Eminence. He says these are like the best 21-inch subwoofers you can buy, and maybe that's true. But on Amazon, they sell for like $1,150. Here, they're selling for sale for $850. But let's just assume that they're somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200 typically. I mean, this thing has to output at least twice as much as 221s, because most 21s are in the, like you can get a good 21-inch subwoofer for $400 to $500. So I'm like, I don't know, like maybe it is better, maybe it is, but is it worth $1,000 or $1,200? Like, is it really worth that much? And I honestly don't know. I mean, I have my doubts.
Compare it to the JL Audio W7 Anniversary Edition. That's like $1,200 subwoofer, and it's much, much smaller.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. So maybe you guys can tell me if you guys think it's worth for the 21-inch. Now, the good thing about a 21-inch subwoofer in general is, someone said, hey, if you have the space for 21-inch, most 21 inches, if you're in like a normal room, you can put that sealed, and it's gonna go down to 10 hertz for you, man. Like you're gonna get bass all the way down where you may not with like a 10-inch sealed in your same room.
Well, the beauty of a 21-inch subwoofer is you've also got that shock value. I mean, if you have one in your vehicle and you open the rear hatch of your SUV and there's this massive subwoofer.
Yeah, he said in a GSG Devastator box, that would be a beast, and it would be. That would be crazy. Yeah, Blake says it's probably worth it if you have space for only one 21-inch subwoofer. And that's kind of where I'm thinking too. But when I saw that price, because everyone was talking about, a lot of people were talking about in the home theater forums and stuff like that. I was like, oh man, I want to look this up. Then I saw $1,200 and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my 221s were 500. I think they were like 400 each. So like $800 for the pair. And I can't imagine the Eminence would outperform those two.
I got a question for you. How much is the new Kicker subwoofer, the new big one they just built that they came out with? Any idea how much those are?
No.
So the question is, how does that 21-inch subwoofer compare price-wise to that Kicker? What is it, the Solo S or whatever? I don't even know what it is.
Solo X or is it S? Maybe. I don't know. They always put some letter at the end always, but
Kicker has made their product names far too complicated. I don't know. Compare that subwoofer at $900 to a pair of maybe Kicker Q Class 15 square subwoofers at $500 each. would it be louder than a pair of $500 15-inch square subs? El Fuego says it's $700.
Oh yeah, should be. I mean, you got to remember how much air a 21 inch is moving. And the thing with this particular 21 inch, which does make it nice, you know, depending on what box you put it in, its RMS power handling is 2,500 watts, and it's extremely sensitive, 97 decibels sensitive.
Ooh.
So you can imagine how much SPL you can get out of it. And so Jeff Schneider has basically said, hey, I think it's the best one you could ever put in to a vehicle for SPL competitions, because you can just throw wattage at it and it's already very sensitive of a speaker.
Let's see here. What else you got? You got another one for me?
Well, I just went, but if you want me to go again,
you just went. Okay.
Yeah.
I will gladly go again. And here is let's see here. Share the screen. We go through all these steps to share the screen again.
Ground Zero has the Germinator 33-inch subwoofer. Wow.
Yeah, Bobby just sent me a message, I think, on Facebook. I'll try to pull it up here in a second if I get done talking about this. So this right here is a digital signal processor. It's a Focal, and I don't know how many inputs and outputs it has, but a lot. It looks like it has 6 inputs and 8 outputs, right?
Isn't it?
And it's $1,300. And so that's kind of like, ow, that's kind of pricey, $1,300.
Isn't it 8 in and 8 out? Or is that first thing something?
There's 8 in, but there's like 6 channels, and there's aux left and aux right.
Oh, gotcha.
Plus, it has optical. And so I posted a video a while back where I'd put a mini DSP 8x12 in my truck, and right, Mullen's got it. You got to say Focal, right?
Focal.
And that thing's going for $900 on Parts Express right now. And there's a link to it down in the description. And someone said, wow, a $900 DSP, that's really expensive. Well, first of all, I didn't pay that much for it because I bought it before prices shot up as a result of all the inflation and everything. But a $900 8x12 DSP might give you sticker shock, but this is 8 in, 8 out for $1,300. And is it better than a mini DSP? I mean, I don't like the interface for a mini DSP. It's kind of annoying, but that has more to do with my laptop, and I hate using laptops. But $1,300 that's ouch. That's sticker shock. That made me, kind of scared me. I stopped away from the computer for a second.
Yeah, I couldn't, unless you're doing competition. I can't fathom spending that. Yeah, I'll pass on that one. All right. So do you know, like, one of my things that goes on my channel that people really like to see is me reproduce speakers that cost significantly more for a lot cheaper, right?
Right.
And so I found these on Crutchfield. Look at these. Klipschorn AK6.
Oh, the Heritage. That's designed to look like their old ones.
Yes. Do you see the price on them?
Is that $16,500 a pair?
Yeah. So only $80 to $250 each. Here's the deal. I'm not going to say anything bad about Klipsch. It's a 3-way speaker. So you can see there's a small little driver up here, your main driver, and then obviously your woofer down there. And I don't care what anyone says. There is no way those are worth $16,500 for a pair of those. There's just no way. When I saw these, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, they are 33 decibels plus or minus 4 decibels. I'm sorry, 33 to 20 kilohertz at plus or minus 4 decibels. They say 105 decibel sensitivity. You got to take Klipsch's sensitivity with a grain of salt, because they just picked the most sensitive spot on the thing, and oftentimes they actually load it as well. Like they can actually load it in different ways in any room to give you that. So there's that going on as well. It's not an anechoic sensitivity,
right?
And then you have a 90 by 40 horn, which isn't even that good. 90 by 40 is like, that's 20 degrees up and down, right? So You better be setting pretty close too on target. I don't get it.
I hope that I'm wrong. But I never see me being able to afford or justify or ever buying a $16,500 pair of speakers. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to have to, eat some crow and one day be like, well, I've got to buy these speakers. I can afford them now.
So here's the deal. Those ones I just built, and I want to actually build like a Cornwall equivalent of those speakers that I just built, but they're 700 plus 5. They're probably $1,300, maybe $1,400 for the pair to build, which is not cheap. I'm not going to pretend like it is. I can't imagine that those would sound better. I just can't, because I'm just like, I don't know. $16,500 though. I'd rather buy a car.
I would buy 2 cars.
and race them.
But no, you're right. I would better buy a car. I'd love to have a second vehicle. That way I can work on my truck. This is the problem that I have. My car audio vehicle that I film everything in is my daily driver. And so I'm constantly, it's 10:30 at night. It's time to go to bed. I got to be at work in the morning. The thing's half apart. It's just crap. This is the image that Bobby B just sent me. This is the Ground Zero Germinator 33-inch subwoofer.
Real quick before we get there, I want to talk this. Blake said, hey, with the clips I get doing in-room measurement since it's designed to be in a corner. That's true. I get that too. My problem is that there's no standard when people test these. So Klipsch usually, and I'm not going to say other manufacturers don't do it, but Klipsch is known for making sure their sensitivity number is a lot higher than probably realistically what you're getting. It just is what it is.
AJC 9988 always has some good comments. A 4x multiple on cost to produce for many speakers, except at low cost speakers, and
high cost.
The thing I've learned from you is that the really sweet spot for DIY is taking that $5,000 speaker and building it for $1,000.
Yeah,
that's the sweet spot, right?
You can do it. You can absolutely do it.
You can't build $100 speaker for less than 100.
Yeah. Well, I know he's right though. If you're buying $1,000 speaker, there's probably a couple $100 worth of parts in it. Timothy, you saying manufacturers lie on their spec sheet? I'm saying they mislead.
It's a shame, isn't it? The way, okay, little side jack here. In the car audio world, the way we tell if an amplifier is a good amplifier is, does it make its rated power? So to make a good amp, all you have to do is put the actual number the amp can make in the spec sheet. And that's the only requirement for a good amp. Oh, it makes power. It makes its power. It's a good amp. Oh, it doesn't make its power. It's a bad amp. That's the standard. That's a pretty damn low bar, man. I mean,
yeah, it is actually.
Why is the bar that low? That just like, hey, if you actually measure it yourself, you get the same measurement they got when they measured it in their system. I mean, that's pitiful, man.
The only thing, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I wish that more people would get like those audio analyzers and do audio analyzer tests on, car audio amplifiers. Because I'd be curious to see really like the in-depth specs of them.
I'd love to have one and do that, but they're so expensive.
Oh yeah, they're like the price of a house, some of them.
Oh yeah. Bobby B, right. Justin, by the size of the fuse, right. So this is so funny. About 2 videos back, I did one of those. Okay, here's the math. Here's how you can do the big dummy math. And I was shocked at the number of people who jumped in my comments and told me how wrong I was by looking at the fuse size to guess power. It's like, no, you can look at the fuse size to guess the power output. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's straightforward. I mean, all you have to do is multiply whatever your input voltage is by whatever. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, let's just say you were getting 14.4 volts, right? And you had a 25 amp fuse. Okay. That's 360 watts max period. Because after that, your fuse will blow. So, I mean, if it says 3,000 watts, sorry. Like, like I don't.
And
What?
the fuses have a little bit of wiggle room. You can draw a little bit more power for a very short amount of time before they blow, but still, you're not going to put you know, you can't use a 50 amp fuse on a 10,000 watt amplifier. I mean,
No, you're right.
it's just math.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the point that we're getting at. It's just crazy.
And David versus Goliath. Those who don't know, that's RGA. He's changed his screen name. Right. Aaron paid over 100K for his Klippel, and I would love to be able to do that. But I think if I did that, my wife would shoot me. So I'm not going to buy a Klippel until I can cash flow it.
All right. So let me ask you this: would you pay $10,500 for an amplifier, a stereo amplifier that does 250 watts by 2 at 4 ohms?
No,
Yeah.
but as I said a second ago, I hope one day I eat crow and I have enough money where I can.
You know what?
But before I do that, I'm gonna do what AJC suggests and spend 35 to 55,000 for an audio precision, so I can actually measure amps and measure things like slew rates and everything.
Yeah, because that's kind of what you would
insane.
need to do. I mean,
Right.
they tell you what their total harmonic distortion is and all that stuff, but here's the deal: like, I don't care who you are. Like, there's no reason typically to buy a $10,500 because we know that after a certain point in time, like even if they have, let's just say, a lower TH, Orchard Audio, which I love Orchard Audio. Orchard Audio is also up there in price. It's not anywhere near this. It's probably a fifth of the price, and it does more wattage. It's like 2 by 500 watts, I think. And let's just assume you're going between the two, and it had a little bit better THD. There comes a point where we can't hear any different anyway. So
Right.
Even if it does lower THD, it wouldn't matter because you can't hear the difference. And so
it's the same argument I use for why I don't need to get anything more than a 1080p TV, because the only way to see that resolution is to get closer to the screen or get a huge screen. And I can't do either one at this point in my life because of the way my TV sits. So, 4K TV doesn't do me any good. There's no point in spending the money on it.
And that's kind of the issue too. By the way, I just want to stop there for a second because I agree with you. And that's why I think color should be looked at more often than pixel count.
Right.
And that's why I brought up the Nomadic, because I was like, man, this can produce a lot of color. Now, I'm not going to say it's the most vibrant, brightest projector in the world, because it's not. It's a small, little, tiny projector. I think it's only like 150. I don't know. It's 19 by 4.74. So was about 200 watts. It's not but the laser just makes it really vibrant. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. On the flip side of that, though, that big expensive amplifier, I've tested a little mini amp recently on my channel. It had VU meters. It's like 130 or 140 bucks. Says in the Amazon description that it's a 300 watt by 2. It's like, no, it's
AIMA,
not. This
right?
thing, yeah, it's a perfectly fine little amp. But looking at the price and the amount of power it put out, the actual real power it put out, I don't think it was that good of a deal, especially when for a little bit more you can get like a full size stereo amp from a brand like a brand like a Sony or something. I posted one on Prime Day actually. So I'm not
How
even
much
sure
was that amp?
Oh,
like 130.
I want to say it was 130. Yeah. And on Prime Day, there was a 2-channel Sony amp that actually would put out 100 watts per channel, real power, clean power for 150. It's like, why would you buy the little compact amp? The Sony amp didn't have VU meters, but it was Bluetooth. It's like, that's a better deal.
Here's the deal. I'm also one of the believers that you don't need 2 by 300 watts in your house. For most people, 50 watts per channel is more than enough for most people. This is the best
in a home, absolutely.
Yeah, this is the best value amplifier on the market, hands down. I don't care what anyone says. I've not seen anything better value. This is 140. So you take that AIMA, it's got the cool VU meters, but that's pretty much it. And it does have Bluetooth on it. It does have Bluetooth, right? or does it not? I don't
Yes, it
remember.
does. All of
So
the
it's
the IMEA had Bluetooth. Yeah,
like Bluetooth and RCA in, and that's it pretty much. And that's all it does.
yeah.
This thing is unbelievable. So this thing has Bluetooth, obviously, but this also can transmit Bluetooth back to headphones. So you can hear it on Bluetooth headphones. It has a phono input. It has a DAC built in. It also has the ability to hook up to your computer, and then you can DSP it. It has built-in DSP in it. It has HDMI ARC, so you can hook up your television and do audio return channel. Anything going to your television will go to this, and vice versa. It has optical input. It has subwoofer out. It literally has pretty much everything you could possibly want on this. It even has an app, right? So you can actually go onto your app and you can like tell it what you're hooking up to it. You can change it.
And they have a DSP too. They
Yeah.
have a DSP plugin you can buy, and you can DSP this thing.
And it's cool too because you can change the input from the app, so you never have to get up, right? It's you can actually, every one of these little inputs here has a different color LED, so you know which one you're on just by looking
Right.
at it. So you know, oh, I'm on ARC, or I'm on optical, or I'm on phono. I just like, to me, there's just no way you can beat that, and it does aptX HD. I mean, there's just no way to beat that for the price. I don't understand like how
Realistically, how much power does it put out though? Realistically, what kind of clean power can it get? Because I'm thinking,
it can do 50 by 2.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I absolutely do. The one thing that has always been good about Auralic is they always use really good chips, and they always rate them well. And I haven't come across a problem with them rating it. Now, I haven't tested mine yet, but I don't see any reason why it's not going to be 50 or 48 or somewhere in that range. And that's what this is like, where I don't like, this is sticker shock to me, because to this day, I still don't understand how they sell it for this price. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you're paying $130 for basically one Texas Instrument chip,
right,
and then this has Bluetooth going in, Bluetooth going out, it has subwoofer out, it has phono. I mean, it has DSP built in. By the way, that DSP is actually no joke. That DSP is really good. You do have to buy the DSP though. It's $10.
Yeah, $10. Yeah, and then the thing about these Auralics is you want to buy 4 or 5 of these things so you can do whole house audio.
Well, I don't believe this one hooks up to the Wi-Fi network like the old ones.
Gotcha.
I lost you.
You lost me? I'm still here.
So I'm just going to keep talking because I don't know if Justin's there or not. But yeah, I absolutely think it's worth the money. And I feel like they have to be selling these at a loss, because I just don't understand how they sell it for so cheap. And company too, because sometimes they sell things and I'm like, why are they selling them this much? And then other times I'm like, how are they selling it for that cheap? It's like, I'm almost always in the middle there.
I don't know why you've lost me. I can hear you.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you just fine now.
Okay.
The Zarbo Audio Project said recent small Class D amp are a lot of fun for the money, and they're sounding nearly equal to Class ABs. I agree.
Hey, Tom, good to see you. I was going to show this right here. This is at Crutchfield, so it's a little bit overpriced. This is what I was talking about. It's a Sony stereo Bluetooth receiver. It's 2x90 watts into 8 ohms, which it's probably 4 ohms stable. It will do every bit of that, right? So if you're just looking at will it do its power, this one will do its power. I'm not convinced the Auralic amps are going to do their rated power. The last one I tested kind of didn't, so that's okay. But at the same time, the one I tested for 130, and on Amazon Prime Day, this one was 150 on Amazon. Why would you buy the little one that doesn't sound as good and falls short on the power? So, just because the thing is cheap and you don't get sticker shock doesn't mean you should buy it. It might not be any good.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got next?
Well, I was just checking to see if anyone had actually tested the output on the Auralic B50, but I didn't see anyone that had tested it yet. But I don't know. My testing equipment's been down, so I haven't got a chance to test those. All right. I want to show something on the other side of the spectrum. Something that you could either buy a house or you could buy a brand new projector.
What would you need a projector like that for?
I have no idea. Like,
I mean, is it like
Christie's supposed to
movie
be known
theater
as these like
quality or
really
something?
great projectors, and they all are very, very expensive. But well, some of them are reasonable, but not, compared to high end projector.
I mean, but
reasonable.
is it like commercial? Is it designed for like a movie theater or something? What makes it worth $152,000?
As far as I'm concerned, not much, but it does take advantage of 98% of the coverage of Rec 2020. Or you could buy this, which is $700 and it does 100%. No, granted, I'm sure that this would have a much better picture because this does brightness of 50,000 lumens. This is like a 550 lumen projector. It's not very bright compared, but the triple laser does make a difference in the brightness. The brightness isn't quite as equal as the lumen, I should say, count with a triple laser versus something else. But yeah, I honestly don't know. That's why I brought it up. I have no idea. I mean, I would buy an investment property over this for sure.
I don't know. Can you buy an investment property for 152,000 this day and age? Is there a house for sale anywhere in the world for less than 150,000?
I know it's getting that way,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Oh, it's insane what house prices have done. And this is the thing that's weird, right? So my house has gone up in value because I bought a house before these house prices shot up. But that doesn't matter because if I sell my house, I got to live somewhere.
Yeah.
What good's it going to do?
And Blake said, hey, it looks like it would be good for large, and that's exactly what this is designed for. And it even tells you it's designed for large venues, events, including rental staging, sports venues, and theme parks. This isn't one that you're going to necessarily put in your house. But I just thought, like, holy cow, that's crazy.
Yeah, my sticker shock stuff is a little bit more a little more realistic than yours sometimes. All right, here's one. This is I think this is the exact alternator I've got in my vehicle. Actually, it's a 320 amp alternator. It's $520, and it's 520. It's a car part. Car parts are expensive, but this is one of those things. I think there are too many people riding around with really loud stereos in their car without not loud enough alternator. It's let me go buy a big amp, put some big subs in this thing, grab a few batteries, and keep the stock alternator. And this is why, because you look at that alternator and you go, oof, And when you do a big alternator like this, again, it's a Columbo situation. And one more thing, you got to do a big 3 because your factory wires aren't going to be able to carry the current, and you're going to buy a new belt. And if you're going to buy a new belt, you've got to buy new tools so you can take the belt off, that kind of thing. And, I agree with David. It is an investment even outside of audio. There's nothing wrong with having too big of an alternator in your vehicle. But I just feel like people look at the alternator and they look at the hassle and the price and struggle to find one for their specific car, and they don't do it when they should. And I think this is one of those cases where the sticker shock is probably out there causing a lot of damage to people's cars.
Yeah, well, and I would also say ignorance, and I'm not calling people stupid. I'm just saying they just don't know that you're supposed to upgrade your power plant. I think a lot of people, I know when I first got started in audio and car audio, I didn't realize that you were supposed to upgrade your power plant to, I mean, it makes sense now that I'm older and wiser, oh, of course you have to have enough power to provide, but when I was first starting, I don't think that never crossed my mind. All right. Are you familiar with OLED?
OLED
televisions?
Tell me. Yes.
Yeah. So the most famous OLED is by LG. They've been famous for OLED since it came out. And one of the reasons why people love OLED is because it has infinite contrast ratio. And that's blacks to white, right? Infinite contrast ratio. But OLEDs are known for black crush, which basically what that means is if you're watching a scene with a lot of black, they all just crush together. So you lose a lot of that detail in there.
Okay.
So Sony has come up with what I think is probably one of the best TVs out there on the market. And people get sticker shock on it because we're so used to, buying a 65-inch TV now for like $700 or something, right? Yet this 65-inch OLED is $3,000. So, you could buy like 4 65-inch televisions or this.
Right.
And, but what this does is it kind of mixes two technologies together. So it uses OLED and it also uses their QD, which basically, how the triple laser uses like 3 lasers to create an image. This kind of uses the same type of technology, and it uses different pixels that are green, red, and blue to make these different colors. And because of that, it basically eliminates that black crush that OLED is known for. And this, in my opinion, has now probably taken over the OLED market as far as better television than even LG. And LG's been doing it for years and years and years. So it's pretty impressive what they're doing. I can completely understand why someone would have sticker shock seeing a $3,500 65-inch television now. But this is one of those ones where I think the sticker shock, if you want the best of the best, is worth it. And honestly, a 65-inch at $3,500, if we would have talked about this like 4 years ago, we wouldn't even think it was that big of a deal. You're muted.
Yeah, $3,000 TV though. That's that's not cheap. That's not cheap at all. Maybe I can talk them into sending one out for review. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Some random company
reached out to me to send me a $1,600 laser. So that's not too far from far from possible.
Well, here's the deal though. At $3,000 though, if you're talking about like the best of the best, and it's really, I mean, in my opinion, not that much more than like an LG OLED. It's probably about $500 more, and some of the LG OLEDs are actually even more. So I don't know. And that also does like 98% of Rec 2020. So very, very high percentage.
Okay. So you get a lot for it, even though it's expensive.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is getting rid of that black crush, which is kind of cool. And
right.
By all means, if you don't think it's worth it for you, then don't get it, obviously.
If you're really into the home theater and you've got a good home theater room and you've gone all out on your audio equipment, I mean, why not?
Right. It depends on if it's for you or not, right? And it's not for, obviously, spending that much money on a television is not for everyone. But I will say this, and especially since there's been so many really good budget, like the Hisense UAH, it's like $1,000, 65-inch for like $1,000, and it's like really good. It's not as good as that, but it's really good.
Get 3 of those, right?
Yeah, you know what? The C series LG OLED is awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good television. I love LG OLEDs. I would love to have one. If someone gave me an LG OLED, I would not be mad.
All right, I got one for you here. Got to have an amp kit to get all that power from your alternator to your amplifier. And this is it's got a splitter and it's got some 4-gauge wire. So it's 0 gauge splitting down to 4 gauges for 2 amplifiers. So 2 amplifiers for $270. Are you feeling pressure to buy?
So they're being pressured to buy TV. Sorry. That's cool. $500. I don't get it.
Right. Here's the thing about wire, right? Wire has to be just good enough to get the job done. It doesn't matter if it's speaker wire, doesn't matter if it's RCA, doesn't matter if it's power wire. It just has to be just good enough to get the job done. And once you've reached that threshold of good enough to get the job done, paying more makes no sense.
Yeah.
And someone earlier, maybe it was Timothy, mentioned recoil. I've seen the recoil wire on Amazon. you could buy a couple of recoil kits and be just fine instead of this. You know, a new Concepts kit that does the exact same thing is going to be $200 or less. And, you know, head over to Down for Sound. Their wire kits are great and inexpensive, but why would you pay $470 for a zero gauge kit? It's a little bit rough.
Yeah. I couldn't do that. I mean, I could not spend that much money at all.
Save your money and buy a $3,000 TV.
Well, someone had mentioned the TCL, and that is another good one. I still like the Hisense better because it's half the price and it has a wider color gamut. But I think they're both very, very good televisions. I don't think there's anything. I don't think you could go wrong with either one. And that's so weird to be talking about. Like, isn't that weird to be talking about Hisense and TCL as televisions that you'd recommend? And
yeah,
where's the
Not known
Samsung
to
and
be a
LG
high-end
at? Come on,
brand.
man.
All right, you got anything else for us?
I do have a couple other things if you don't have anything.
Go ahead.
Well, you know what? I'm just gonna put it on. Oh man,
What's wrong?
All right.
You've stopped moving. So is it
I'm
me
gonna
on my
mention
end or
this.
your end?
If you guys are interested in XGME, I've actually reviewed a couple of their projectors. I actually have one right now that's coming in for review. I really do like them. If you are interested in some projectors, they are on sale right now. It's 29% off. This is just one of theirs. I like their Mogo 2 series a lot. They're little portable projectors. They're really good for the price. But almost all of them are on sale. Now, if you get the Mogo 2, I don't think that one is on sale, but I do have a coupon on my video. So if you check that out, there's a $50 off coupon. But even their like Horizon Pro, even their Aura, which is their ultra short throw, is actually on sale now. So I just thought I'd mention that for you guys. But the real thing I wanted to end with was not that, is this.
All right.
I want to show you this, and I want you to tell me what you think. I have my feelings on this, and they're mixed. I have mixed feelings about this.
Do you feel a certain kind of way?
All right.
A $6,500 Denon, the AVR series. You know, you move the decimal over, you know, by one, and you're in the zone. I like to I consider.
So if it was 65,000, you'd buy it?
No, 650. 6,500 is a pretty big hit. I mean, I'm sure it's fantastic, but 6,500 is a pretty big hit.
So yeah, I mean, it's a 15.1.4, and the thing that I find even funnier about this than anything is, yeah, it does do, you know, it does in-room auto correction. Just in-room auto correction. You have to upgrade. You have to pay more for it. So it has Odyssey automatically, but if you want Dirac Live, you have to pay extra to be able to.
Oh, we lost Nick. It's usually my internet that goes out, y'all. Maybe mine is out. I don't realize it. If someone in the chat can give us some feedback. All right, we've lost Nick, and that's okay. It looks like he's trying to get back on here. He's got I can see him to add to the stream, but he has his devices disconnected. Sometimes he has a little trouble with his cameras. So I'm going to add one of my sticker shocks. I love these amps and I love this brand. And every now and then I think to myself, you know, I'm going to go and buy some nice stuff and I'm going to get the audio control. And then I pop over to Crutchfield and I look at the price and I see $900 for this 5-channel amp.
There we are.
And it's a great amp, but ouch, $900. That makes me kind of, I don't know. It's sticker shock. I tend to do that and then go look at anything else. Nick, welcome back. I was filling in the dead air with my discussion of this $900 amplifier. So we lost you somewhere. Are you still there? All right. So maybe we've lost Nick. It would be cool to see the Northern Lights. That would be nice. So Nick's looking back and forth.
I think the internet's trying to tell us it's time to end the show.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Yeah.
Let's try to wrap it up with our usual ending. What do you got coming up on your channel?
I'm not sure what you said. Did you tell me? Oh, what am I doing? I will have the Eminent Speaker video up today, or not today, this week. I was hoping to have it up today. I'm not today. Shut my camera off. I was hoping to have it up early this week, but that's not going to happen. I'm still doing some more testing and stuff of that nature so that I can actually have graphs and stuff for you guys, but it'll be out this week for sure. And I hope that you guys really enjoy that, because that's going to be a really good video.
All right. So I just dropped that laser video on Sunday. And if you haven't had a chance to see the laser video, you should go check it out. It was a pretty good review and discussion about whether you should spend the money on a laser. And next week, this has already been uploaded. My patrons can already see it. Is a review of these speakers right here. This is a Hi-Vi Swans D1100 powered pair of speakers, like near field monitors. They're little 4-inch drivers, so there's not a lot of bass, but I thought they sounded pretty good. So that's what's going to be coming up on my channel this next week. And I think I've completely lost Nick. So we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I just shut my video feed off. I was listening to
you. Okay. And well, I'm out.
Me too. Hasta la vista.